Average Dude has something to say about...
Oh, I am so tired of hearing about government shutdown every single quarter. I have to hear about the possibility of the government shutting down. It's possible this time. No, it isn't. It is not going to happen. Let's go over this. Earlier this year, I dealt with the fiscal cliff. I'll leave the link down below on that one, including another one when I dealt with the horse crap factor between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. These spoiled, rotten brats, these politicians, these political parties have done more. They're like these spoiled brats that got everything they ever wanted at our expense, and then they took us to the cleaners and took us into bankruptcy court. And they still piss and whine and want more. I'm tired of hearing about this. Every single freaking quarter, we get to hear, oh, it's possible now. Oh, and it's all it is to stir the pot. How absolutely ridiculous and pathetic is the media? Most Americans, no matter where they have been, whether they were on the conservative side or the liberal side, for the most part, they're just tired of this kick, fighting against each other, arguing with each other. People are tired of the nasty invective, out on the street, out, in the restaurant or with family. They're tired on social media with their friends. They're tired of these arguments. They're just sick of it, whether they're conservative or liberal, no matter what side of the fence they happen to be on. They're tired of hearing about this. They just want the compromise, and they've wanted it for a while. And yet every quarter, these jackasses, the media stirs the pot. I mean, how ridiculous is the media for this? Most Americans just simply don't want to hear about this anymore. They're tired of hearing the threat every single quarter. We've been hearing about this since near the end of 2008? It's the second half of 2013, for God's sakes. And we're still hearing this shit. Politicians are the enemies of this country. Republican, Democrat, they're dreck. They're treasonous. It's ridiculous what they do. I really wish that we could hold them liable and accountable for all the stress. Yeah, it's ridiculous, all the damage that they do. They're so un-American. They don't care about the people. All they're interested in is kick them, and I've talked about that. These people on the bipolar opposite sides, they kick the people in the middle, and the people in the middle get kicked to the point where they look up and then these assholes lie and see what they did to you. You need to kick them, and they try to recruit. I've said that way. We fought over fast food chicken in 2012. The link to that one will be down below too. This is how ridiculous. But people, since this has been happening since last year, people are tired from the election year and from everything. They're so tired of hearing about it. But yet, the news media, this is what I'm coming across, and if the rest of you aren't facing this, good for you, but there are a few top stories, and they constantly recycle them over and 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 over again, and they keep coming back to the threat of government shutdown. They're shameless with this. How many Americans are just turning off the TV and doing something else, or they're just avoiding the news altogether because they're tired of hearing this? News media, if you're looking for ratings, do not do this. The American public is just sick and tired of hearing about it. Now, let's go over the fact that they're full of crap. Government shutdown hasn't happened, and it's not going to happen. You want to know why? Because they can't make good on that threat. It's a bluff. And here's why. Think of all the things that are tied and all the things that are done with government services. If it's shut down, people aren't going to volunteer. You might have a few heroes that'll volunteer, but most of them, they're not going to work for free. They're providing for families. And they're going to serve their body. They're going to try to take care of their families and themselves. Guess what? When they're not doing their jobs, all of a sudden your lives at home, the rest of you in the private sector, welcome to pure unadulterated hell. First and foremost, how many people have the elderly in your families, you know, the people that raised your sorry asses. They worked real hard their entire lives, and by contract, they are supposed to get their retirement. Once they don't get their retirement, guess who they're going to be coming to and knocking on the door for when they're in trouble? Guess who they're going to insist help them? All of you. Yeah. Unless you happen to be part of that individually independent, wealthy 1%, get ready to be given the guilt trip. And they are going to dig in something fierce. And they're going to do it nonstop. And they have every reason to, because you know what? It's not fair to them. They earned their retirement. Oh, and let's talk about health care. You see, I'm tired of hearing about the health care bill too, and all that, and the law, Obamacare and whatnot. How hard was it to handle pre-existing condition? That right there could have avoided Obamacare. But have you taken a look at how ridiculously overinflated medical prices are? These bastards are overcharging out the wazoo. If you are in a doctor's office and you blow your nose with a Kleenex, take a look at the charge that goes with that and how much. I mean, my last physical was over $1,500 physical to check blood pressure, height, weight, and to take a blood test, and that was $1,500. It's horse crap. And guess what? Without the Medicare or Medicaid, without the elderly being insured, ooh, wait till all of you get to be hit up by the help. You have to help. You need to help us. We put diapers on your butt. We raised you. Welcome to pure hell when they tear into you for not taking care of them in return. You see, most individuals that are middle-aged like me, they haven't figured that one out. If the government really does shut down, oh shit. Oh, but let's not stop there. When it comes to those who are getting, like, if you have a disabled child, you're on your own. Woo-hoo. Or when it comes to disability in general, through no fault of your own. Let's say that something happened at work and they decided you're on your own. Taxes. Oh, are you supposed to get some type of return? If the government shuts down, they're not giving you anything in return. If you had any issue with the government that was unresolved prior to a shutdown, it's not going to get taken care of. No one will be at the desk to take your call. I mean, nobody in America, for the most part, I am convinced, has genuinely and truly thought this through. We cannot exist the way that we are in the society that we have created with a government shutdown, because when push comes to shove, we're not going to, largely most of us are not going to be willing to take on everything that goes with it. Okay? Sometimes you need to hit rock bottom, and we're not rock bottom. If the government did shut down, that would be as close to rock bottom as we could possibly have. And what would happen is, like I said, as I said, with the elderly and the disabled and all the people who, you're going to be hit up to help them. All of your situations that were supposed to be handled by the government in some way, shape, or form, you're on your own. You're screwed. Thumbs up your butts. And now, watch. People will panic. They will start to charge out the wazoo on credit cards because they're going to do what's in their best interest. And all of a sudden, banks are going to be lending out a buttload of money that they don't have. And as part of that panic, people are going to take their money out of their checking and savings accounts. They're going to start stuffing their mattresses. All of a sudden, that's money that those very same banks and financial institutions do not have. Financial institution. Okay, when the medical field, people are going to be given medical services, and they're not going to be paying their ridiculously overpriced medical bills. So when it comes to the big, then right there, when you are not buying, when you are not paying for things because you're overwhelmed by all the new additional shit that you have to deal with, all of a sudden, you will see the genuine, true owners of this country, and emphasis on the word owners. They own the ridiculously filthy, exorbitant, rich bastard 1%, the corporations. They are the ones that truly run the show. And all of a sudden, if government shut down, I give it a matter of days. You will have lawsuits out the wazoo. People will be suing the government left and right, and for good reason, because the government will have welched on its part of the deal and opened up to lawsuits. And all of a sudden, because these major mega corporations aren't getting as much money as they used to, now they are going to have the direct phone numbers to contact our so-called governmental representatives that are supposed to represent us, and they never have and never will. All of a sudden, these big major power players who truly run the country will place those calls to the congressmen, the senators, and all of a sudden you will see miraculous compromise happen. It's going to be a band-aid. It'll only be just enough, but that's what will ultimately happen. Sorry about this, but I forgot about some other things. Remember what all else gets covered with government spending. You see a lot of law enforcement and firefighters and, of course, prison systems are run off of, basically these private corporations receive tax money for it. So, government shutdown, you're on your own as far as police gone. They're not going to work for free. They're not going to protect you. Fires, you're screwed. Your home's going to burn to the ground. Oh, and when it comes right down to it, prison systems, all of those violent criminals. Do you honestly think that these businesses are going to hold and house and deal with these prisoners if money's not coming in? They're going to all be the worst that society, the most dangerous people in society will be released into the public, including terrorists. Congratulations, thanks to government. If government shutdown actually ever happened, I wanted to throw that last bit in there to truly let it sink in why the United States of America can never genuinely allow government shutdown to truly happen. Take care, everybody.